It is Thursday, February 10th in 2022, and we are live because this is
the Redwoods Community Report. I'm Izzy.
And I'm Nate.
Thank you for joining us.
I love live radio. As part of the Redwoods Listening Post, and with help from local nonprofits, Access Humboldt and Internews, this is a new locally focused news magazine radio program for this radio station, KZZH 96.7 FM.
The intent is to showcase local issues through a collection of articles, opinions, and stories created by local community citizens, journalists, and media partners. We hope to create a radio program that will highlight our diverse community of voices and bring back the on-air community dialogue.
That's right. We want to bring back the on-air community dialogue. We want the community to join us and submit their stories, come on with us on the air and talk about issues that they are concerned about, things that the community needs to know about. And you can do that by emailing us at redwoodsreport@gmail.com. That's redwoods with an S, redwoodsreport@gmail.com. Shoot us a line if you want to come on air with us, if you got something to say, if something needs to be heard for our community.
On this second live episode of the Redwoods Community Report, we will hear from In-Home Supportive Services, Eureka Neighborhood Beautification Project, and our man, Dave Frank.
But first, let's talk a little bit about the weather. Man, it was a gorgeous day today. Izzy, were you able to get outside and enjoy some of that sun?
Unfortunately not, but I'm right here in front of a window, so I could see the outside, but it looked like a lovely day.
I didn't either, but it was gorgeous out there. I think it got up to like 64. So and tonight it's going to be mostly clear with a low around 47. And Friday, the weather should be the same as today, mostly sunny, but get this, a high about 69. So it's going to be a warm day. I might actually wear shorts for the first time all year. and then Friday night, it's going to be partly cloudy with a low around 45. Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be sunny, with Saturday 64 a high and Sunday a 61 of a high. And then it looks like we might have a chance of showers starting on Monday. We need the rain, so as much as I like the sun, we need that rain. All right, and let's see what else. Let's hear what's going on. Speaking of this weekend, let's hear what's going on this weekend. Izzy?
On Saturday, February 12th, and on the second Saturday of every month, it's Arts Alive from 4 to 7 p.m. on the Arcata Plaza at 9th and G Streets. There will be lots of art and music in downtown Arcata, in the surrounding area, and online. Please keep safe distances, wear facial coverings, and observe guidelines in each location. You can find out more by emailing arcadamainstreet@gmail.com, calling 707-822-4500, or going to arcadamainstreet.com.
Also on Saturday, there will be a guided walk at Founders Grove with nature guide Griff. Oh, Griff is awesome. From 11 a.m. to noon at Humboldt Redwoods State Park, 17119 Avenue of the Giants in Wiyot. The Founders Grove Loop Trail is less than a half a mile long and is ADA accessible. There will be frequent stops to discuss the redwoods, the history of the land, and the wildlife. Find out more by emailing john.griffith@parks.ca.gov or going to humboldtredwoods.org. All right, and let's talk about some local issues going on. Izzy, you are our local community journalist, or actually a professional journalist.
Thank you. You flatter me.
What is the grabbing headline that you got for us today?
Well, actually, as you were talking about with the weather, unfortunately, the sunshine isn't really good for the drought. I actually wrote a story today about drought conditions, and although, December, January were pretty good wet months, I believe we're almost 11 inches below where we should be this time of the year. And so I spoke with... Yeah, I know. I spoke with someone from the Weather Service earlier today, and he basically said that we might have a chance of rain on Monday, but it's a pretty slim chance, and we're not setting ourselves up for a very good summer season, and therefore bad drought, bad fire.
Yeah, we know what
season.
That means, don't we? Oh boy. Well, you'll have to keep us in tune to that, and everybody do the rain dance. All right, our first guest. It is with pleasure that I have to introduce to you our first guest, Margaret Lewis, and she's going to be telling us a little bit about in-home supportive services. Thank you for joining us this evening, Margaret.
Well, thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here and see you on Zoom connection and be able to talk about something that gets me fired up and
Right.
active. First of all, I want to mention a little bit about the IHSS program, just to give a brief account. It's in-home supportive services, and it provides support for people who are elderly or disabled to live in their homes as, rather than go into some kind of managed care facility. To do that, they have to hire care providers. And that's one of my thrusts of my what I do. I'm on the IHSS advisory board, and I'm the chair of that agency. And we our mission is to offer advice and make recommendations to improve the quality of services delivered to recipients of Humboldt County's IHSS program. So we're advocates. We have people on the board that are recipients of the program, that are current or retired care providers, that are other community advocates and members, and also staff members from the county IHSS program and Department of Health and Human Services. Okay, so we are currently experiencing all over the state and in Humboldt County as well, a provider shortage. There is a real lack of providers. So if you are a recipient of the program and you need help, it's really, really hard to get help these days. And so we're doing, the advisory board is on a campaign to recruit care providers. And that's what I'm trying to say today is I would like to encourage people to consider becoming a care provider. It's a very satisfying experience. You're helping somebody get through their day. It's difficult work in a sense, but it's easy work in another sense. You might take people to an appointment or shopping. You might do house cleaning for them. You might help them with some personal care. I'm at a loss for words.
Well,
I ran to a period in my sentence.
Well, so you're looking for care providers. Are these paid positions or volunteer positions?
They're paid positions, and right now the care providers through IHSS get $15.50 an hour, and which they just got a raise. They've negotiated, I guess it was last year, to always stay 50 cents above the minimum wage. So when the minimum wage went up in January, they went to $15.50, and they are currently in negotiation for a higher wage and other benefits as well. So that's kind of an ongoing negotiation. It comes up every couple of years, depending on the contract, of course. But yes, they do get paid, and there's other people sometimes have other kinds of insurance that they can use to pay people, and so the wage would be different according to that. Right now, I just wanted to give you an idea. We have this in January, there were 69 new recipients of the program. That means 69 new people signed on to be IHSS recipients.
In need, those in need.
Right.
Okay.
New care providers, 6.
Wow. Okay, so we definitely have a shortage.
There's a big differential there. And let's see, in the state, there's 600,500 recipients, and there's 520,000 care providers. Now, some of those people, you don't want to just say, oh, there's 80,000 difference, because sometimes one person will take care of 2 or 3 people during a week, or sometimes it'll be a family member. So there's a lot of variation in the way that this is parsed out. But the fact remains that it's very difficult to get care if you need it. So people can go to the there's a website under DHHS. It's called the what is it called? Oh man, this is terrible.
Somebody's got the live on air jitters. Come on, Margaret.
Does this ever happen to anybody else?
It happens to me all the time, but I know you're a seasoned professional on the radio.
Public authority. You go to the DHHS, and it's under the public authority, and there's a connection there to get information about becoming a care provider. Or you can call 707-476-2100. That's the IHSS office, and ask to get a care provider packet and find out some of the things that, of course, it's the county, it's government, there's hoops you have to jump through. But let me tell you, it's worth it. I was a care provider for over 20 years, and it's extremely rewarding, gratifying work.
Sure. Wow. Margaret, I'm curious. I'm sure that, it seems like these really critical services always fall short of having enough volunteers, right? And I'm wondering if you can talk about, what has contributed to this shortage. And, I'm sure it was exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, but can you talk a little bit more about that?
It was, and let me emphasize that these are not volunteers necessarily; they're paid workers. But there is a problem with, like in any profession, the person that is actually doing the contact with the people that are receiving the benefits, whether it's school teachers, bus drivers, nurses, they're all on the bottom of the scale, and they all get paid the least, and they all get the least respect. And that's happening in care providing as well. That they have to, well, for example, there's a confidentiality thing. So you're taking care of somebody, but you don't necessarily know what their problem is. Of course, if you develop a rapport with them, they'll of course tell you and let you, help them more that way. But that's just one example. There's the wage is low. It's always been low, and that denotes a certain amount of disrespect and a certain amount of turnover. It's sort of seen as a stopgap job for people. But if you need part-time work, or you want to fill out your hours, you're retired, do look into being a care provider.
All right, Margaret. Thank you so much for coming on our show today and telling us of this need. Yes, the in-home supportive services needs care providers. They are paid positions. You can find out more by calling IHSS at 707-476-2100, 2100. Thanks again, Margaret.
Thank you, Margaret.
All right. What is next? We're going to go with...
Should we go over to some PSAs, Nate?
I think we got one.
All right. You want me to take that one? I'll take it.
You go for it.
The Boys and Girls Club of the Redwoods will host their 23rd annual Bids for Kids auction and dinner this Saturday, February 12th from 5 to 9 p.m. Dress to impress for a night of glitz, glam, and top secret prizes like prize and destination packages and local goods. This black tie affair will be held at the Eureka Veterans Hall, 1019 H Street in Eureka this Saturday, February 12th. To reserve your table, call 707-498-6067 or by going to bgcredwoods.org.
And I would just like to remind listeners, you are listening to the new live local community talk radio show, the Redwoods Community Report on KZZH 96.7 FM. And we would like the community's help. We'd like you to contribute. You hear what Margaret just did. There was a need in our community, and she came on our show and let the community know about it. And coming up next, we have something else that is going to be going on in our community this Saturday. And we are joined by Scott Bauer from the Eureka Neighborhood Beautification Project. Thanks for joining us today, Scott.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And so can you tell us a little bit about what's going on this Saturday?
Cooper Gulch is a popular place for people in our community, and it's pretty heavily invaded by non-native species. So we've got a couple of big bins set up. We're going to try and take out as much of the non-natives that are in the park. And I'll just say, when I when I go to the park, I'm sure people think, oh, it's beautiful, and it is, but I have a background of doing habitat restoration, and all I see is ivy. I see ivy everywhere, and ivy is not native to California, or I think the United States really. So we're going to pull ivy. We're going to pull things like cotoneaster, pampas, whatever doesn't belong. We're going to try and get rid of it, so our native plants have a chance to thrive.
Yeah, I've seen English ivy on trees for years, and I didn't know until I think I had a conversation with Tom Wheeler from Epic, and he was telling me about some of their efforts in taking down English ivy because it strangles trees.
It does, and when it really carpets the ground too,
Yeah.
our native lilies and our native flowers, they can't compete. So pulling that stuff up, I have it all around the side of my house, and I pull it up, every month, and I watch all the natives come back. It's pretty fun to see the native vegetation come back, and it benefits our wildlife too.
That's excellent. And so when will this cleanup take place again, and rain or shine event, and what do volunteers need to bring with them?
Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful day. We'll be meeting, we're going to get started at 9:30 at the Cooper Gulch parking lot. They have to sign a volunteer form, and I have it going for 3 hours. Whatever people can do is appreciated. We'll meet there, and then we'll kind of spread out, from the parking lot all over Cooper Gulch. And, the more the merrier. So please come.
And do participants need to bring any tools or anything like that?
Thank you. I forgot that. Yeah, no, we'll
worries.
have a bunch of tools, but I would say that if people have hand shears to cut ivy around the trees, girdle the ivy, I'm just hoping we have enough of those to go around, because I want to knock out as much ivy as we can. So, but gloves, water, but the rest of most tools and stuff will be provided.
Excellent. And so that is the Cooper's Gulch cleanup this Saturday, starting at 9:30 a.m. And that's at 1720 10th Street in Eureka. And they're going to be cleaning out the invasive species of plants so that our local native plants can come back. That is another great opportunity to get involved with the community. So, Scott, I also recently heard a news report or a public service announcement about a grant that Cooper's Gulch was given. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I serve on the Eureka City Council, and we've really tried hard to get that park updated. Everything out there's built probably, in the 60s or earlier. And so there was a grant application put in. I think it's for around 2.4 million. And, the intent is to upgrade the playgrounds to make them, ADA available. The long-term goal is to redo the ball fields so that we could have a multi-purpose, baseball, soccer field. But I think there's some incorporation too of some trail work. The goal is, well, some people want it. I personally do, is a trail from Cooper Gulch Park to the high school, which is probably a longer process, but the start of it is to get it from Cooper Gulch to 14th Street, so people could avoid streets, and it would be really beautiful too to be able to walk through that, down through the park and into the ball field. So fingers crossed. We've tried once. We just got 2030 Park funded, but that work, and that's a huge grant. It's like millions of dollars to completely redo 2030 Park, and that work I think will start this summer. So very exciting upgrades coming to Eureka Parks, and the community is going to really benefit and enjoy it.
So that makes this cleanup event this Saturday even more important, because we got to get all that invasive species before we start upgrading the Cooper's Gulch.
There you go.
Yeah, personally, I would like to see us do this, every 3 months or something. I mean, that park had no love for years. We've had the California Conservation Corps out there a few years back, but you got to kind of keep on it. So we're hoping that the disc golfers that use the park will come out and participate. All the local, everybody who uses it can come out, and even just to spend an hour, we can really do some damage to the non-natives, and hopefully we'll do it I plan on trying to schedule it, every 3 months or something. Keep it going.
It's the community's park. It's the community's responsibility, and it's the community benefit.
Definitely.
All right, Scott, thank you so much for coming on with us tonight and telling us about this Cooper's Gulch cleanup happening this Saturday at 9:30 a.m.
Thank you, Nate.
Thank you,
Isabella.
Scott.
I appreciate it. Have a good night.
You too.
You too, man. Wow. All right. See, the community is getting involved in this radio program, and you can too. If you got something to say, if you got an event coming up or anything like that, shoot us an email, Redwoods Community Report @gmail.com. We'll put you on the air. You can pre-record, or you can just send us your message and we'll get it out to the community. All right. Coming up next, something special for you folks. We are trying to drop some knowledge at the end of the program here. And so we have for you today, our man, Dave Frank with You Are Here.
Hey guys.
Hey, Dave.
I really like what you got going so far. This
wait, I messed up. I played the wrong theme song. We got to hear your theme song, Dave.
Oh, okay. I was wondering, man.
You're not supposed to admit that you mess up.
It's live radio. I'm supposed to.
We're dialing it in. This is great. Democracy in action here. I love it.
All right. We are here.
Yeah. Hello, guys. My name is Dave Frank, and I host a monthly show called You Are Here. That goes out on local airwaves. Well, I won't shout. I'll give a shout. I can give a shout out. KMUD goes out there. We're on KZZH though, dropping some knowledge here. So what I'm here to talk to you about today is about the importance of community dialogue. And so back in 2014, there was a journal article published by a couple of professors, Martin Jones and Benjamin Page, Princeton University, and I believe Northwestern, published in Cambridge University Press. And it's called Testing Theories of American Politics, Elites, Interest Groups, and Average Citizens. And they were setting out to find answers to important questions. Who governs? Who really rules? To what extent is the broad body of US citizens sovereign, semi-sovereign, or largely powerless? And these questions have animated much important work in the study of politics. So here's a quote directly from their study, which is really shocking, about how little influence we actually have at the national level when it comes to getting the public will actualized. Here's a quote. When the preferences of economic elites and the stands of organized interest groups are controlled for, the preferences of the average American appear to have only a minuscule, near zero, statistically non-significant impact on public policy. Well, so how did they come up with that? They studied a bunch of key variables about almost 1,800 policy issues over time and found that the impact of everyday citizens is practically negligible. In fact, they really had a hard time finding any cases where the public will was actualized. And here's another takeaway quote. In the United States, our findings indicate the majority does not rule, at least not in the causal sense of actually determining policy outcomes. When a majority of citizens disagrees with economic elites or with organized interests, they generally lose. Americans do enjoy many features central to democratic governance, such as regular elections, freedom of speech and association, and a widespread franchise. But we believe that if policymaking is dominated by powerful business organizations and a small number of affluent Americans, then America's claims to being a democratic society are seriously threatened. Where's that gotten us today? Look at how we responded to the economic crisis of 2008 or the most recent COVID crisis. So these are huge, monumental, societally changing crises. Our Federal Reserve System created trillions of dollars, nearly $9 trillion currently on their balance sheet. But when you look where this money has gone, where it has been spent, where it currently resides, it has not really worked its way through to the system. In fact, the top 1% is basically sitting on this. Yet now they talk about this money, they, meaning public policy leaders, now on the national level, they're saying, well, all this money's out there. We can't address critically important issues. And when we, as a community, try to address issues that are important to us at the national level, we're distracted with the culture war. And then we respond predictably when we hear the dog whistle and consume, hearty portions of red meat tossed from institutions that we've lost trust in. We live within a civic discourse that far too often reinforces the lesson that divide and conquer narratives win elections and sell lots of advertising. So it's no wonder civic issues are primarily adversarial instead of collaborative. So pause to think about this, like really, really, really think about it. Is it any surprise that divide and conquer is the prevailing narrative that frames our understanding of the world around us? If we agree that we are aware of this divisiveness in our midst, and I think we do, and that all things being equal, most people do prefer to avoid confrontation, being divided and apart is not constructive. It makes it much more difficult to successfully accomplish civic-minded goals and aspirations. There's lots of evidence that public will does not translate successfully into policy outcomes. This known and measurable disconnect is evidence of what is known as a democratic deficiency. So when most folks turn away and tune out, that's a very rational decision. Apathy in this media environment is arguably self-preservation. The negative feedback we're living in has created trench warfare political order where calculated manipulation keeps most people occupied by distractions. And sadly, far too many of our brothers and sisters, our fellow citizens, our neighbors, whether it's the dizzying dilemma of processing the absurdity of all this or the vicious spiral of despair, are looking away from it all out of desperation. Well, where do we go from here? There are many important issues facing our community. Deaths of despair marked by depression, drug addiction, and overdoses. Adverse childhood experiences marked by toxic trauma, drug addiction, domestic and sexual violence, depression, other mental wellness issues, the experience of hunger, suicide, or incarceration in the family, climate crisis, drought, water access, wildfires, impact on food sources, lack of access to affordable healthcare, lack of access to affordable housing, lack of access to reliable broadband that's necessary for this information to reach us all. There are proposed solutions in the public discourse, but there seems to be a missing institution. We cannot successfully rise to the challenge of addressing these issues and many other problems if we stick to the status quo. A modest proposal: these challenges require a forum for respectful consideration of differences of opinion. We can start by committing to the importance of education in media literacy, conflict resolution, educate people to listen to each other. There's no persuasion without dialogue. Building consensus to address important community challenges requires a respectful public forum. Community conversation makes a difference. If we want to actualize our concerns and aspirations, we need to bridge what divides and alienates us. And that's my You Are Here soapbox for this week.
Wow. Thanks, Dave. That was a mouthful. Dave. My head's spinning, but I feel smarter.
Dizzying dilemmas. A special thanks to our supporters, Access Humboldt and Internews.
And a big thanks to our partners and contributors, In-Home Supportive Services, Eureka Neighborhood Beautification Project, and our man, Dave Frank.
Again, we are seeking help from our community. We offer this radio platform to you to help restart the on-air community dialogue.
To share your voice, your concerns, your stories with our community, please send your story submissions to us by emailing redwoodscommunityreport@gmail.com. That's Redwoods with an S. redwoodscommunityreport@gmail.com.
This has been
the Redwoods Community Report,
a new locally focused news magazine radio program that showcases local issues through a collection of articles, events, and opinions created by local community citizens, journalists, and media partners.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Izzy. Thank you for listening.